Welcome back, children. So coming to today's class, we'll be discussing about numericals related to motional EMF. Okay, starting with the NCERT questions, we will study the questions related to objective pattern also. So look at the first question. Okay, here it is given that there is a rectangular loop whose length is 8 centimeter and breadth is 2 centimeter. Okay, so let us take this as 8 and this distance is 2 centimeter and it is kept in a perpendicular magnetic field. Okay, this magnetic field, it's already shown in the diagram. The direction of magnetic field is perpendicular and is acting in the downward direction. So for this magnetic field, what is the EMF developed across the cut? Okay, so they are saying that there is a small cut across the conductor. Okay, so in this diagram, I will show you the cut. Say there is a small cut here at this particular point. It's not a closed loop. So if there is a small cut in the loop, determine what is the induced EMF when the conductor moves perpendicular to length and perpendicular to breadth. Since it is coming out of the magnetic field, there is a decrease of flux. We know according to Faraday's law, a change of flux will induce EMF. And now coming to the first case. Okay, if I take this as A bit, since the conductor is moving perpendicular to the length of the conductor, I'll use the formula for motional EMF. Okay, we know what is the motional EMF developed. B into L into V. Magnetic field is 0.3. 8 centimeter will be the length of the conductor. Into speed is given 1 centimeter. So 1 into 10 power minus 2 volts. So calculate the induced EMF. 8.3 is 2.4 into 10 to the power minus 4 volts. So this is your induced EMF. Then in the same question they are asking you, how long does the EMF last? That means for what time will this EMF exist? We know this EMF will exist as long as the conductor comes out of the magnetic field. See, if this has to come out of the magnetic field, it should travel a distance of 2 centimeter. Okay, since the loop is coming outward, length covered should be 2 centimeter. So the time for which EMF exists is distance by velocity. Distance is 2 centimeter, velocity is 1. So it lasts for 2 seconds. Okay, both are in CGS units. I'm taking it as 2 seconds. Similarly, answer for B bit. Since it's moving perpendicular to the breadth now, induced EMF will be B into breadth into velocity. Magnetic field is 0.3. Breadth of the conductor is 2 centimeter, 2 into 10 power minus 2. Velocity is 1 into 10 power minus 2 meter per second. Answer comes out to be 0.6 into 10 to the power minus 4 ohms. And for how long will this exist? As long as it covers a distance of 8 centimeter. Okay, if it has to come out, it has to cover the length of the conductor. So time is distance by velocity, 8 by 1, that is 8 seconds. So when you are moving it perpendicular to the breadth, EMF is 0.6 into 10 power minus 4 volts, exists for 8 seconds. For parallel to or perpendicular to the length, EMF is more, that is 2.4 into 10 power minus 4, and it is going to exist for a time interval of 2 seconds. Okay, coming to this question, there is a metal rod whose length is 1 meter and is placed along west-east direction and is allowed to fall with a speed of 5 meter per second. Okay, what is the instantaneous EMF induced in the wire? Given BH is this much and angle of dip is also given. So whenever you are solving this type of questions, remember there are two magnetic fields, horizontal component and vertical component. Vertical component is always directed towards the center of the earth. Okay, I'll take the direction inward, vertically downward. And horizontal component, okay, this is the direction of BV. Horizontal component is always directed from south to north. So this is the direction of BH. Now let me take west, east. Along this we have a metal rod whose length is given, and we know there is a Earth's magnetic field. BH is directed from south to north. And since your conductor is falling vertically downward, velocity is into the plane of the paper. BV is also acting into the plane of the paper. Since velocity and BV are in same direction, no induced EMF will be there due to vertical component, but there is induced EMF due to horizontal component. Since velocity is downward, BH is acting upward, conductor is along west to east, there is an induced EMF due to BH. BH, L and V are mutually perpendicular directions. So that should be BH 0.3 into 10 power minus 4. Length of the conductor is 1 meter. Speed is given 5. So what should be the induced EMF? 1.5 into 10 to the power minus 4 ohms. So identify whether the conductor is getting EMF due to vertical or horizontal component and then answer. Suppose the same question is given that it is in north-south direction. Okay, if your conductor is in north-south direction and is falling down, then due to BH also we don't get any induced EMF. Due to BV also there is no EMF induced, because BH and L are parallel to each other, BV and velocity are parallel to each other. So remember, EMF is induced only when it is in west-east direction, not in north-south. There may be induced EMF when it is in northeast direction. Suppose your conductor is this side, making an angle of 45 degrees with west-east, and it is falling down. Then due to BV again we don't get any induced EMF. But because of BH there is induced EMF. Take the component of the length perpendicular to the magnetic field and then calculate what is the induced EMF. So be careful, there are two components of Earth's magnetic field. BV directed into the plane of the paper, BH is from south to north. A jet plane is traveling towards west at a speed of 1800 km per hour. Okay, first convert the speed to meter per second. 1800 into 5 by 18, that is 500 meter per second. Then what is the voltage developed between the ends of the wing, which is 25 meter long? Magnetic field of Earth is given as well as the angle of dip is also mentioned. Now you think of it, because the plane is traveling towards west. Okay, if I mention the directions, this is the direction in which a jet is traveling. So these are the wings. Wings are in north-south direction. Again verify. I told you there are two fields, BH directed from south to north, BV directed into the plane of the paper. Since wing length and BH are in same direction, there is no induced EMF due to BH. EMF may be induced only because of BV. See, BV is directed downward. This is the direction of velocity. Length of the conductor is in north-south direction. So what will be the induced EMF? EMF is induced due to vertical component, not due to horizontal. It's BV into L into V. We know we can write BV as B sine delta, where delta is the angle of dip. Length of the wing into speed. Multiply all the values. B is 5 into 10 power minus 4. Sine 30 half. Length of the conductor is given as 25 meter and speed 500. Okay, so simplify this. What will your induced EMF come out to be? 25 5 is 125 into 5 by 2 into 10 to the power minus 2. (625 by 2 into 10 to the power minus 2 volts), or on further simplification 312.5 into 10 to the power minus 2 ohms. So this will give you the induced EMF. Okay, look at this very long question. It says that there is a square loop of side 12 centimeter with its sides parallel to x and y axis, and it is going to move with a speed 8 centimeter per second in positive x direction in a region which is containing a magnetic field along positive z direction. That means the field is dots outside the plane of the paper. Okay, I'm just showing you the diagram. There is a magnetic field directed outward, and this is your square loop whose axes are coinciding with x and y direction. And then the field is neither uniform in space nor in time. That means the field is changing with time as well as it is changing with distance. It has a gradient of 10 to the power minus 3 Tesla per centimeter. That means dB by dx along negative x-axis. So what is dB by dx given as 10 to the power minus 3 Tesla per centimeter. I am converting into meter. Tesla per meter. The meaning of along negative x-axis in the sense field is increasing when you go along negative x direction, decreasing when you move along positive x-axis. So here I'll write along positive x-axis dB by dx is decreasing. Okay, since it is having a gradient in the negative direction, it is decreasing along positive x-axis. When x is positive, dB by dx is decreasing. Then apart from this, one more condition is given. It has a gradient of 10 power minus 3 Tesla per meter square along negative x-axis and is decreasing in time at the rate of 10 power minus 3 Tesla per second. So dB by dt is also given. Even this is decreasing at the rate of 10 to the power minus 3 Tesla per second. Now with this condition, they are asking you to determine the induced current if resistance of the loop is 4.5 milliohm. Okay, so to calculate the total current, first let us make use of Faraday's laws. Okay, we know from Faraday's laws, induced EMF is d phi by dt. Okay, first I'll find out the induced EMF due to change of magnetic field with space. So we know d phi by dt with minus sign. I can write it as minus d by dt of b dot a. Okay, I can write it as a into dB by dt. Okay, since I know dB by dx, I'll multiply and divide with dx by dx. Okay, this can be written as a into, of course minus sign is anyway there, dB by dx into dx by dt. Okay, dx by dt will give you the velocity with which you are moving the conductor. And now you look at this, if I call this as E1, when I divide with resistance, I'll get the current. So let the current be I1. Okay, we'll divide with resistance later. First, let us find out what will be the induced EMF. Okay, tell me what will be the induced EMF due to change of magnetic field with space. Area 12 into 12, 144 into 10 power minus 4. dB by dx is 10 to the power minus 1. Velocity is given 8 centimeter per second, 8 into 10 power minus 2. Evaluate the value. 8 into 144. 8 4s 32 into 10 to the power 4, 5, 6, 7. Or you can write it as 0.1152 into 10 to the power minus 3. I will write it as millivolt. So this much of EMF is induced. This is because of decreasing magnetic flux. Now look at the EMF induced due to variation of magnetic field with time. So two EMFs I am calculating. One due to dB by dx, another due to change in magnetic field because of time. So E2, if I write it as minus d phi by dt, this is nothing but minus of A into dB by dt. Already we know the value of dB by dt, which is also decreasing. So E is equal to, area is 144 centimeter square, dB by dt is 10 to the power minus 3. So when I simplify this, I get 144 into 10 to the power minus 7 ohms. Okay, you can leave it in 10 power minus 7. Both the values we have got in 10 power minus 7. Since E1 is also due to decreasing flux, E2 is also due to decreasing flux, the total EMF induced will become E1 plus E2. Add the values, 144 plus 1152. What will your answer be? 1296. I'm sorry. Add both of them. 144 plus 1152. 4 plus 2 is 6. 5 plus 4 is 9. 1296 into 10 to the power minus 7 volts. But they want the current. Can I write the current as EMF divided by resistance? divide with resistance 1296 by 4.5 milli. So I'll make it 10 to the power minus 4 ampere. Okay, simplify this equation. You will be in a position to find out what is the induced current. Since both the fluxes are decreasing, we have written it as E1 plus A2. But if one of them is increasing and the other one is decreasing, then you have to take the difference of E1 and E2. So this is an NCERT question and an important model. This is a question where rotational motion is given for a metal rod. Okay, it's a metal rod whose length is equal to L. It is placed in a perpendicular magnetic field. Field is given as B, and then it is rotated about one end of the rod, omega. Okay, omega is the angular speed. That means we are going to rotate this rod about this axis in anti-clockwise direction. Then what is the induced EMF across the ends of the rod? Okay, so between the point O and A, we are going to find out the induced EMF. So to get the answer, one method I can use is by integration. Okay, take a small element of this rod whose length is dx at a distance x. We know at this instant when you rotate the rod, it will have a velocity v. We can write v is equal to, because it's at a distance x into omega. V is equal to radius into omega. So what is the induced EMF in this small element? For the small element, if I write the induced EMF as BLV, dA is equal to, magnetic field is B, length is dx, into velocity is x omega. Okay, in the next step I'll write. It's B into dx into x into omega. I want the total EMF induced from the point 0 to L. So integrate the relation from 0 to L, B into omega into x into dx. B and omega are constant. Integral of x dx. Okay, can we write it as x square by 2? What are the limits? 0 to L. That's nothing but B into L square into omega divided by 2. So this gives you the induced EMF, the magnitude of induced EMF. And now to know which end of the rod is positive and which end of the rod is negative, so you can use the Fleming's right hand rule. Okay, field is into the plane of the board. I am using the Fleming's right hand rule. Thumb is pointing out the direction of velocity. Then middle finger gives you the direction of current. So if this is the direction of current, okay, I told you, make a cut in the wire, current always flows away from positive towards a negative. So if I include a battery here, what will be the, which end is positive and which end is negative? Just now I told you, make a small cut and then give the battery. It is away from positive towards negative. This is how a battery is induced. O is having the positive terminal and A is having the negative terminal. O is at high potential when compared to A when you rotate it in anti-clockwise direction. So remember how to find out which end is positive and which end is negative, and even this value. When a metal rod is rotated about one end, induced EMF is BL square omega divided by 2. Now coming to this question, again they are giving you a metal rod of length L, but it is not rotated about one end, it is rotated about the point O in anti-clockwise direction. Then in such a case, they are asking you to find out what is the potential difference between A and O. This end is A and this end is O. Also find the potential difference between O and B. Okay, just now we have seen that when a metal rod is rotated in a perpendicular magnetic field, what is induced EMF magnitude given by BL square omega divided by 2. Okay, now I'll directly make use of this relation. So first for the rod OB, okay, EMF induced across OB is B into, its length is 3L by 4. So 3L by 4 whole square into omega by 2. So what is the induced EMF across O and B? It is BL square omega by 4 square, 16 into 2, 32, 3 square is 9. 9 by 32 BL square omega. Call this as equation 1. Now identify which end is positive and which end is negative. Since you are rotating it as anti-clockwise, At this instant, the rod is going to move upward. Use the Fleming's right hand rule. Field is into the plane of the paper. Velocity is upward. Middle finger is directed towards O. So if this is the direction of induced current, how to give a cut? Positive and negative. Okay, O is positive, B will have a negative terminal. And once you get this, we know O is at high potential, B is at low potential. So VO minus VB should be equal to 9 by 32 times BL square omega. So we have got VO minus VB value. Similarly, come to VA minus VB. That means for this end of the rod, what is the induced EMF across the end AO? Because its length is L by 4. B L square by 16, because L has become L by 4, into omega by 2. So induced EMF across E, A and O is BL square omega divided by 32. See, when you are moving this conductor upward, this rod is moving in the downward direction. Again, use the Fleming's left hand rule. Field is inward, velocity is downward, current is directed towards center. Middle finger is indicating the direction. Make a cut in the rod. Current always flows away from positive towards negative. Again, O is at positive terminal, A is at negative terminal. So O is at higher potential than A. So VO minus VA is positive, which is BL square omega by 32. Since they are asking you VO minus VB, okay, I think the question is to find out VA minus VO. VO minus VA is BL square omega by 32. Then what will be VA minus VO? You will have a negative sign. So you get a negative sign for VA minus VO. So remember this, when you are rotating a metal rod at a point not equal to 1 or not passing through one corner, as length changes, EMF also is going to change. So here itself, remember this condition. Say sometimes they give you different spokes of a cycle. If this is a circular rim of a cycle with a number of spokes in it, if all of them are in a perpendicular magnetic field and you are rotating the cycle, okay, and the cycle is rotating clockwise or anti-clockwise, I'll take it as anti-clockwise rotation, then in each rod there will be induced EMF, just like the metal rod OB. If I take this as O, these are all the different points, A, B, C, D, E and so on. In OA, there will be induced EMF such that O is positive, A is negative. Even in OB, there is an induced EMF. Look at all the batteries. If I write number of batteries connected, from center to rim, all positives are connected together. How are all these EMFs connected in parallel combination? If a number of EMFs are connected, of identical EMFs are connected in parallel, the equivalent EMF will again be equal to EMF of one spoke. That is nothing but BL square omega by 2. That is BR square omega by 2. If I take the radius as equal to capital R. So even if you have 100 spokes, the net EMF is not going to change. Because from center to corner, all the batteries are in which combination? Parallel combination. Okay, if I pull this upward, all the center points are connected, all the edges are connected to the rim. So this will give you induced EMF. The same rule is applicable even if they give you a disc. Okay, sometimes they give you a disc is rotating in a perpendicular magnetic field. This is a disc. And it is rotating in anti-clockwise direction in a perpendicular magnetic field. What is the EMF induced between the center and the edge? See, you can cut the disc into a number of spokes. See, I can take this as one part of the disc. This as another part. Is it obtained by joining large number of vertical rods? Large number of metal spokes. So what will be the induced EMF from center to edge of a disc? Answer won't change. It is BR square omega divided by 2. See, there is a metallic square loop ABCD which is moving in its plane with a velocity v in a uniform magnetic field. See, the plane of the loop is in the magnetic field and it is moving with a speed v. Okay, it's a conceptual question. Electric field is induced in which of the conductors? So they have given you all the four sides of the square. In which of them electric field is induced? So we know electric field is induced only in the rods which are perpendicular to velocity and magnetic field. So identify which two rods EMF is induced in the rod BD as well as in the rod AC. So EMF is induced in BD and AC. What should your answer be? It is induced in BD, it is induced in AC, but not in AB and DC. These 2 points are at same potential. These 2 points will be at same potential. So this time the nature of the rod is not straight. Okay, till now we have seen questions where you are given a straight current carrying conductor and you have to find out the induced EMF. Okay, we have written it as B into L into V if L and V are perpendicular to that of magnetic field. Now if you are given a wire of irregular shape, then remember, take the effective length when you are calculating the induced EMF. See, if your wire is bent in the form of a semicircle whose radius is capital R, join it from M to P. This will be your effective length. Just like we have did for magnetic forces, whatever be the shape and size, we will close it and take the effective length. So what should be the induced EMF magnitude? See, is this moving downward with a velocity v, whose length is equal to how much? 2r. So induced EMF is B into L into V. Magnetic field is B, effective length is 2r, velocity is v. We have got the magnitude. And now they are asking you which end is at higher potential. How to identify which end is at higher potential? Use Fleming's right hand rule. Field is inward. It is moving downward. Velocity is downward. Middle finger is pointed from M to Q. That means current flows from M to Q if it is closed. So make a small cut in it. If this is the direction, we know current always flows away from positive towards a negative. So which end is positive and which end is negative? This end, Q is positive, M is negative. So Q is positive terminal and M is negative. Okay, this is how you can identify. There is one more way to identify which end is positive and which end is negative. You can make use of the magnetic force method. See, we know if you consider this conductor is having a number of free electrons, when you are moving the conductor downward, field is inward. I am using right hand rule now, and you are moving the conductor downward. Thumb gives the magnetic force. So positive charge will move from M to Q. But because these are electrons, electrons will move in which direction? Opposite. If electrons are moving this side, then M will be negative, Q will be positive. Again I am repeating, to know which end is positive and negative, you can also use Lorentz force, magnetic Lorentz force. Field is inward, you are moving the rod downward, thumb is pointing out towards right. Since this is the direction of magnetic force, positive charge will move from M to Q. Q becomes positive, M will become negative. Okay, here it is given that there is a metal rod of length L, but it is tied to a string whose length is 2L. Okay, as per the question, string length is 2L, rod's length is L. This end is fixed on the table and you are rotating it about this vertical axis. That means the rod is going to rotate circularly on the table. In such a case, what is the induced EMF across the ends of the rod? So one end of the rod I will take it as A, another end as B. Like we have done in the first case, take a small element whose length is dx, which is at a distance x. Since it is rotating, let this velocity be v. What is the induced EMF, motional EMF? dE is equal to, only due to this small element, is it b into length of the rod is dx, velocity is v. or dE is equal to B into dx into velocity. I will write it as r omega, that is nothing but x omega. But I need to integrate this relation to get the total EMF. What is the total EMF across A and B? B omega integral of x into dx. What are the limits of my integration? One end is at a distance 2L. Another end is at a distance 3L. So the limits are from 2L to 3L. Put the limits and integrate it. B omega x square by 2, limits changing from 2L to 3L, or B omega by 2 I am writing outside. Upper limit minus lower limit. 3L whole square is 9L square minus 4L square. What would your answer be? B L square omega by 2, 9 minus 4 will be 5. So this gives you the induced EMF. So in this question we have two conducting loops, okay, and both of them have a same width L and L, almost the same width. They are approaching each other. Each one is moving with a velocity v and v. Since they are approaching towards each other, okay, the relative velocity of approach, can I write it as 2v? Because both are coming close together, flux is decreasing at a faster rate. Relative velocity is 2v. So what should be the induced EMF across the length of the rods? We know induced EMF is B into L into V. Magnetic field is B. Length or width of this rod is L. Relative velocity, I'll write it as 2v. So this gives you the induced EMF. So in this arrangement, they have given you a conductor PQ. This is a conductor rod PQ whose length is 0.25. It started moving with a velocity v, and there is a magnetic field, okay, directed perpendicular to the plane of the paper, okay, and this magnetic field has a magnitude of 1 Tesla. Okay, I forgot to write here. Remember, B is equal to 1 Tesla. Then they are asking you to find out, for the given arrangement, determine the current through the sliding conductor. Apart from this, they have given you that the resistance of this conductor is 2 ohms. Since you are moving this conductor in a perpendicular magnetic field, let us calculate the induced EMF in the rod PQ. We know it is B into L into V. B is 1 Tesla, length is 0.25, velocity is 4 meter per second. What is the induced EMF? 4 into 0.25, 0.25, you will get it as 1 volt. So this is behaving like a battery of 1 volt. So which end is positive and which end is negative? Identify the positive and negative end. You can use Lorentz force rule. Field is inward. Velocity of conductor is this side. Thumb is pointing out upward. Positive charge will move up. So P is positive, Q is negative. I'll induce a battery which is 1 volt. It is having a resistance of 1 ohm. Here you have a 4 ohm resistor, and this side you have another 4 ohm resistor. Now look at this arrangement. How are two resistors connected in? 4 and 4 are in parallel, that is in series with 1. 4 and 4 in parallel, I can reduce the circuit to 4 and 4 in parallel will become 2. 1 volt battery. This is of 2 ohm resistance, as per the question. And instead of 4 and 4, I will add one more 2. Okay, now calculate what is the current through the middle conductor. 2 and 2 in series, equivalent resistance is 4 ohms. So how to get the total current produced by the battery? EMF by R equivalent, that's 1 by 2 plus 2, 4. So current in the central conductor is 0.25 ampere. And if at all, if they ask you what is the current in these two resistors, see, if this is developing a current of 0.25 amperes, is it distributed equally between 4 and 4? So this will get half of this, 0.25 by 2 ampere. In this 4 ohm, 0.25 by 2 ampere, that's 0.125 and 0.125 amperes. Okay, now coming to this question, See, they are giving you a shape of the conductor which is in the form of a V shape, A to O and O to B. This whole angle is given as theta, and this frame is going to move with a velocity V in a perpendicular magnetic field. So in such a case, they are asking you to find the potential difference between the ends A and B. Okay, just now I told you, whenever your conductor is of irregular shape, replace it with an effective length. Okay, I will calculate this length from A to B, and it is moving with a velocity V. So find out what is the length of this AB. If this whole angle is theta, can I take it as theta by 2? Which theta relates, okay, the center point, if I call it as C. From this triangle, what is sine theta by 2 equal to? AC divided by L, or AC is equal to L sine theta by 2. Similarly, for this conductor, CB can also be written as L sine theta by 2. So the effective length from A to B will be 2L sine theta by 2. Now once you get the effective length, field is into the plane of the paper, velocity is horizontal, length of the conductor is on the paper. What is the induced EMF across AB equal to? Magnitude is B into length of AB into velocity. That is B into V into 2L sine theta by 2. Now which end is positive and which end is negative? Using the Lorentz force condition, field is inward, velocity is middle finger, thumb is pointing out upward. So positive charge will move up. This is negative. So A is positive. So EMF across A minus voltage across, okay, if I write it as VA, VA minus VB is equal to 2 B into V into L into sine theta by 2. Okay, this is how you can find out the potential difference. Okay, so in this question they have given you a conductor rod PQ. Assume that this is a conducting rod which is placed on a smooth rails, and this is going to move along the horizontal, and we are applying a constant force F, and this is connected to a capacitor whose capacitance is C. So in this question they are asking you to find out, if the length of this rod is L and mass is M, what is the acceleration of this conducting wire? Okay, so this is a conducting wire whose acceleration we need to calculate. So before that, we know that whenever you try to move a metal rod in a magnetic field, there will be a current induced so as to oppose your motion. So if you are applying a force F, there is an opposing force F dash acting in the opposite direction, and therefore the net force acting on the rod, how to write the net force? M into A should be applied minus opposing. We know what is the applied force. Now we need to find out what is the opposing force acting on the rod. So to get the opposing force, we know whenever you start moving the conductor, there will be induced EMF in the metal rod. What is the induced EMF in the metal rod? It is B into L into V. Okay, where V represents the velocity with which you are moving the conductor. And because of this EMF, it is going to go and charge the battery. What will be the charge on the battery at any instant of time? E into C. I'll write E as B into L into V multiplied with capacitance. Once you know the charge, the rate of change of charge will give you current. So I'll differentiate this relation. dq by dt is equal to B constant, L constant, C constant. dV by dt is nothing but acceleration. And once you get the current, what will be the repulsive force acting on this? F is equal to B into I into L. The magnetic force always tries to oppose the motion of the conductor. So what is F dash equal to? B into I into L. Calculate F dash. B is constant. Current is B into L into C into A into length. That is B square, L square, C into A. Call this as equation 2, this as equation 1. Now substitute the 2 in 1 net force should be F minus B square L square C into A. Bring all acceleration terms together. M plus B square L square C into A is equal to your applied force, or acceleration of the rod will become F by M plus B square L square into C. So this gives you the acceleration of the rod, which is moving on a frictionless surface. And one more thing, remember here, resistance is 0. Okay, so throughout this loop resistance is considered as 0.